Hi peaches, it's Shaaba. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on another video. You know the drill. Happy Monday. It is that time every week where we take a look at the subreddit AITA. Why? Because it's a little bit of juicy drama. We can hopefully help a couple people out and it expands our own mindsets along the way. Every week I take a look at my comments and there are some peaches who regularly say how much this series marks their Monday. It makes them feel like it's Monday and it's something that they can look forward to. I just want to let you know that I feel the same way. So bless you. And on that very cheesy note, shall we go fishing for some a-holes? Let's go. Am I the asshole for telling my brother-in-law's wife to not wear the same colour as me on my wedding day? Oh, I love a juicy wedding one, and this is very fitting because I've just got myself back into the wedding mood. It was Jamie and our 1 year wedding anniversary. I was taking another look at the invite because there's always this cliche photo that you have of the invitation with the ring and the jewelry and the perfume and the blue and the do and the... Anyway, when I was looking at the invite, there was a line on there where we had to specify. I don't know if it's going to sound weird to some people, but I'll explain why. It had to say on there, for the Mandy day, please do not wear red or black, and for the wedding day, please do not come dressed in white. And the reason for that is because in Western weddings, typically the bride is the only person to wear a white wedding dress, and I feel like not all Asian people are very, au fait with that rule. I didn't want there to be any dramas or anything like that, and similarly for the Asian Mandy day, the idea is for everyone to dress really colourful. It's seen as, disrespectful to wear black, and red is the colour that's often reserved for the bride, so I was wearing red. But obviously it's not, for Western people, you wouldn't think, oh, I can't wear red to a wedding. I felt it was important to specify for the Western people the colours that you traditionally should and shouldn't wear for the Mandy day, and to the Asian people for the Western wedding day. That was a very long-winded way of me saying I'm interested in this title. My fiance is a 24-year-old man. I'm a 24-year-old woman, and we are getting married in a few months. Congratulations. Recently, my fiance came to town to finalise his outfits for the wedding, and his brother and his brother's wife, we'll call her C, came along with him. I attended brother-in-law and C's wedding prior, but we'd never really talked to C properly. Interesting. I tried to, but she never reciprocated any conversation and would usually refrain to ignoring me, yet I still kept my feelings towards her amicable. I'm getting the idea that maybe the tension is with C here. I feel like OP, the original poster, is trying to paint a picture here, and I'm trying to keep an open mind so that we don't go in being primed to not like C. So let's see. Returning to the situation, we all reached the store and everything was going smoothly. At first. Me, my fiance and brother-in-law were actively discussing different looks that suited my fiance, while C was busy on her phone / talking on the phone the entire time. My brother-in-law told me that she was looking at different dresses to wear at the function, and in an attempt to make conversation, I asked her what her choices were. She ignored me and would only show her husband, my brother-in-law. I brushed it off because I wasn't about to call her out when it didn't really bother me that much. I was used to her ignoring me. When my fiance's outfit was decided, we moved to the ladies section because C was ready to order her dresses. Again, I minded my business and I let her do her thing. As she was discussing the dresses, I overheard her say that it was red. Oh, that's interesting because I was just saying, is this person Asian? This person might be Asian. In my culture, it's pretty much known that you don't wear red on the wedding day because that's typically what the bride wears. Same thing as not wearing white to a wedding. I looked over to my fiance and he was just as confused as I was. He told his brother that I was wearing red that day, with him telling C as well. Okay, so he's gone, hey, the bride is wearing red on the wedding. And the brother-in-law's gone, yeah, babe, the bride is wearing red on the wedding. I thought maybe she understood and walked away, expecting her to choose a different colour, only for her to choose red again. At that point, I was just shocked at what was going on. I've never had ill will towards her, so I wasn't sure where all this hostility was coming from. Before I could speak up, my fiance stepped in again to remind her that my dress was red. You could cut the tension in the air, but she finally decided on a different colour, and we finally left. This sounds very awkward. Why does she dislike you so much? I'm getting the vibe that this is definitely a dislike, twice with the red thing, the ignoring, you're asking her about the outfit choices, she's not responding to you, but she's responding to the brother-in-law. Something's definitely going on. After shopping, I'd planned for us to have dinner before they left as a little treat for them coming this far. Unfortunately, even though I tried to keep dinner easygoing, it was just very awkward. C didn't eat anything at all and was absent half the time talking on the phone. That's just rude. When you're shopping is one thing I can kind of understand. I saw that, I just missed it because I was like, look, some people just don't like to shop. Sometimes like me, I can be different moods. There are times where I'm like, I'm up for shopping and wanting to do this. But other times, especially if people are taking a long time deciding on one outfit, and I'm like, dude, the choice is simple. Just get one that you like. Sometimes it just takes so long. I'm really grateful for my phone being there. So you know what I mean? I get it. But when you're at a restaurant as well, especially after this hostility, no, closer. We don't be on our phones. Anyway, reading on. After dinner, my fiance and my brother-in-law said goodbyes to me. C didn't say anything. They walked to their car and sat inside. My brother-in-law gave me an apologetic expression and my fiance told me to just ignore her. Okay, the other useful thing about this post is it's not just OP's opinion, right, and perception on things. The fact that both the brother-in-law and your husband are like, makes me think, sanity checks to me, right, that this is definitely a hostile situation, something's going on, and I'm getting the inclination that you're not the asshole. OP says, I went home very upset. I wasn't aware that me simply requesting to change the dress colour was that unacceptable. Babe, I don't think it was you changing the dress colour. She seemed to have a problem with you and with this situation years before this dress. A few hours later, I messaged my fiance asking if they'd reached home safely. He told me that upon reaching, C flipped out and broke the TV, saying how could I tell her what colour she can't wear. I just wanted my wedding to go smoothly, but now I'm not sure what to expect. And no, I didn't wear the same colour as her during her wedding, so it couldn't possibly be some personal vendetta. My question is, maybe she didn't know and then she got embarrassed? Like, perhaps she doesn't know that that's the sort of like South Asian way? I'm assuming C is not South Asian. I don't actually know who OP is marrying. Is OP marrying someone who's also South Asian and therefore is a brother-in-law South Asian? Because if everybody's Western in this situation and it's just OP who knows the whole like Asian red thing, maybe that's why. And then C felt embarrassed and was like, oh, I didn't like being called out like that. Who does that? Who says not to wear a colour? Like, just feeling kind of butthurt. Hang on, there's an edit here. We're all South Asian, so sister-in-law is not racist. Oh, well, that changes things. So she knows then, right? It was not coming from a sense of ignorance, like racial, cultural ignorance. I'm assuming that she wore red on her wedding day and you therefore didn't wear red? Well, hang on a second. As we're unpacking this, one other thing to mention is, like, it's a traditional colour to wear red. It's traditional to wear white, but brides sometimes don't always wear white on their wedding day, just like for Asian brides. I actually think now red is seen as like quite old school. The more hip modern brides don't always wear red. They might wear like golds or creams or like some kind of like hybrid western white but bejeweled gorgeous sparkly disco bally thing. This is definitely hostile. And to break a TV, like, that's a lot. Okay, anyway, verdict. No, I do not think you are the asshole, OP. I think it's very clear that C has something going on. Based on this story, in this context from what we're seeing, definitely think that C is the asshole. And I'm also feeling some kind of way about the brother-in-law. I mean, I get it, there was tension and people could tell that there was tension, but did the brother-in-law need to tell you that she broke a telly and flipped out and it was specifically because of the dress? Maybe that was a conversation that he should have been having with his brother, or like not with you guys at all, but just, you know, having that conversation with his wife, being like, this is very normal, we clearly need to unpack something here. I just think it's a bit like shit stirry, you know, to come out and be like, oh yeah, and then my wife did this and she broke a telly and she's really mad at you because of this thing that you said. Tiny asshole. Big asshole badge goes to C here. Maybe there's like some really progressive things going on and C is just like, well, you know, I can wear whatever the hell I want, and fair enough. Some people very much are like that, and some people don't prescribe to wearing a certain colour on the wedding day. Maybe some people think that's really old school, but I think it's tradition enough that it's not weird to have made that as a request. Should we see what other people have to say? Your sister-in-law really doesn't like it when she isn't the centre of attention. She'll be very vindictive and apparently violent to make sure that she retains her position of main character within the family. No matter what colour dress that she wears, you can expect some kind of outburst at your wedding, and she will be the victim when she tells the story, not the asshole. Well, I feel like I just read a fortune cookie. I hear what this person is saying. If that is where it's coming from, I see this as being an unfortunate reality. However, I'm not sure if it's just a matter of a centre of attention thing. Because if it is, I feel like there are different ways to doing that than not speaking and being on your phone. That jump, that assumption there doesn't quite make sense to me. Somebody who wants to be centre of attention, I feel like would be making the outfits all about them and making sure that they pick the best one for their fiance, like your fiance, and then be like, oh, I found it. You know, like, I know there are different ways to be centre of attention. I feel like there's more to this story than just that. There seems to be some level of hostility that OP certainly picked up on for years. I think that's where the problem lies, and that needs some more excavating. What a weird word to use, Shaaba. Yeah, the only resolution here is to uninvite her from the wedding, says someone. I don't think that's a good idea. With respect, this is the wrong take for me. I get it, sometimes people can be so horrible. Maybe it's the optimist in me. I know so many of you in the comments are like, oh, Shaaba, you're too kind. I just think we need to work on solutions, right? Like resolutions where possible. Brother-in-law and brother as in your OP's husband seem to be quite close. You're going out shopping together. You're having dinner together. Like, that's kind, right? You don't want to like cause rifts in a network that don't need to be caused. And I feel like uninviting is just absolutely a surefire way to make that rift even bigger. I just feel like that's a really bad idea, especially when there's a possibility. It doesn't sound like it's been done yet. For OP, I don't know, OP doesn't have to, right? But OP could. If OP's wanting to sort this out, be like, hey, I can sense there's something going on. What's up? Like, what is your beef with me? Can we squash it? Maybe something happened that's so small to OP, they don't realize that it was such a big deal to C, and C just needs to like get it out there. They need to have closure on that and then start with like a clean, fresh slate. I feel like that is a better way to go than uninviting, because uninviting then could even mean that the brother-in-law doesn't come, and how will that make your husband feel? Whew. Here we go. Actually, in India, literally dozens of women end up wearing red on the wedding day. Some even wear their own wedding dresses to other people's weddings. I'm not even exaggerating. I have heard of this being a thing. I don't know too much about it within India. It would still be such a massive faux pas in my Asian culture here in the UK. I don't know if maybe that's because we have some diluted, like kind of double tradition thing going on. But if anybody watching this video is from India and specifically knows and understands wedding culture in India, I would be so grateful to hear your take on it. Is this normal? Because I have heard some pretty, not nightmare, but like dramatic gossip stories going around the family bush. Is that a thing? Did I just make that saying up? The family bush? The family bush? The merry-go-bush? What am I trying to say? Anyway, my point is, people talk a lot of smack about people who wear the same colour or who wear their wedding dresses or even just party dresses to other people's things. So I'm just going to move on from this comment because I sound like an idiot. Someone else says, if this is ordinary behaviour, why is OP therefore so concerned about the future sister-in-law wearing red to her wedding? This is a bit confusing. I just think, there are different cultures for different people. So we should be making assumptions. But regardless of those assumptions, I feel very strong in my verdict that OP, you're not the asshole. I really hope you sort that out, because it's not fair that you have this unnecessary drama before your wedding. We started off quite simple. Let's see if we kick it up a notch. Am I the asshole for suggesting that my wife lower her standards so that she'll be less overwhelmed? This is one of the most unhinged titles I think we've read on this forum. I'm interested to see where this goes. My wife is 37 and I'm a 38-year-old man. We have 3 kids, a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. She's in a constant state of overwhelm and very easily irritated, constantly complaining how it's all too much. I am of course happy to help and do my fair share for the kids or household, but it's never enough because her standards are too damn high. There's a fence, and I feel like I'm falling on one side of it, but I shouldn't be. Let's make ourselves as objective as we can be. We are tiptoeing on the fence. We are reading on. This is now my fence pose, apparently. She insists one of us has to be up at 6:45 every morning to make sure that the kids are ready and that they make the bus, which comes at 7:45. So that's an hour to get ready. For 3 kids, that's pretty tight, in my opinion. I told her that they're old enough to not need that much help already. They can all dress themselves and pour themselves cereal and milk. There's no reason that we have to be up. How old are the kids? 12, 10 and 8. Still trying to reserve judgment. Becoming more difficult. Let's see. She says that cereal isn't a good enough breakfast. They need something more substantial, especially the 12-year-old, and that the 10-year-old has ADHD and will definitely struggle without help in the morning. Plus, she wants to see them off and kiss them goodbye for the day. So she gets up, I don't, and then she gets upset that I never give her a morning off when all she needs to do is take the morning off when she wants to and let the kids handle themselves. Let's read on. Also, she's super strict about screen time during the... Okay, hang on, no, wait, we do need to go back. We need to unpack. This is too much for my head. I'm really confused. The only thing that I think I'm agreeing with OP on here is that cereal does make a pretty substantial breakfast. Cereal alone would be fine. However, for a 12, 10 and 8-year-old, well, I, as a parent, would still be up. I'm just saying I wouldn't be asleep waiting for my kids to go off, especially if one of the kids has ADHD. I don't know if they need medication. If so, that can be even more difficult until they get that medication. Also, you as a parent should just be around. That's what having a kid is, right? You hover, you monitor, not all the time, but you help with the school run. An hour is really tight. I tried to think about when I was in my family house with 3 other girls. So there was 4 of us sisters, plus 2 parents and a partridge in a pear tree. And honestly, it would take an hour just for everyone to get through the freaking bathroom because everyone was so damn slow, let alone dressing, eating, dealing with last minute forms and requests for an egg because the art teacher needs it or whatever ad hoc request it is. And if the bus comes at 7:45, I'm assuming you need to be out there by 7:45. So if you're getting up at 6:45, that's like less than an hour to get ready, not even taking into account the fact that people take time to rise. Like, I'm not saying that I'm a perfect person in any way, However, I do not have a problem with this. If my alarm goes off, I can be up and I can be ready. But some people, they have this defrost period. The alarm goes off and you have to wait half an hour for them to even get out of bed and be somewhat conscious. I'm really stuck on this time thing. I just think that OP is really sounding like an asshole here, and like somebody who is not ready to commit to parenting, which is surprising because you've been a parent for 12 years. Also, mum is super strict about screen time during the week and is exhausted and snappy from arguing about it with the kids, and upset that I don't support her strict limit of 2 hours a day. That's probably on like the stricter side, but I don't think that sounds unreasonable. Like, the question is, does that involve family screen time? So if you're watching a movie, that's 2 hours. But if what you mean is like you can have the iPad, and therefore if you're not having any time to socialize with friends outside, because let's be honest, everything's done on social media now, you might have games, you might have shows, like 2 hours does sound quite strict for a screen time household. But then there are some people that even parent without screens entirely and can really make that work successfully for their households. It does, however, get tricky if you're not on the same page. I say, says OP, as long as homework is done, why not until bed? She says it's not healthy for them. They need to go play outside or with games and toys, read some books, just entertain themselves in more ways than one. I agree that they should enjoy other things, but I don't see why we have to make such a rigid limit. She also likes to go out on weekends and do stuff like zoos, museums, etc. So like wonderful, fun, cultural, family bonding activities. OP's making them sound so bad. But then mum complains about the planning for the outing and how grouchy the youngest gets by the end of it. And again, I say let's just chill at home and voila, you've cut the work. Two sides to every story, right? I'm struggling to see OP's side on this. However, I am making some assumptions in that. I'm assuming that mum is wanting to go out for a reasonable amount of time. It might be that mum is wanting to be up at the crack of dawn, out and doing things every single weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. Museum, football, park, aquarium. I can see why that would be exhausting, to not have any downtime. However, it sounds like mum's just trying to be like a good, well-rounded parent, helping the kids develop good, well-rounded people skills. I'm waiting for the bad, there's a little bit left. I am an engaged and active parent, says OP. I'm not trying to get out of it, but I don't think that I should have to help my wife dig herself out of her own self-created holes. She creates the stress for herself, then turns to me to alleviate it, which I think is unfair. So am I the asshole for telling her that she needs to do less, and then she won't need this level of help? Oh yes, I forgot that this whole thing was about the lowering of the standards. OP, you are the asshole. There's no which way about it. I think this is pretty clear. The only thing that needs clarifying for me is that whole like weekend thing. However, the 2 hours screen time limit really doesn't seem that unreasonable. The morning thing in particular is what I find the most bananas. Like, that is so reasonable of the mum. I feel like mum should be requesting you guys to get up even earlier. And you know what? I would be really flippin' grouchy if I was the only one, like, basically single parenting, right? In a co-parenting household, because you are insisting that my boundaries need to be lowered, when the reality is I'm just trying to do the best thing for my kids, and it's really not that outrageous. Like, OP, do you not want to spend time with your kids? Do you not want to see them in the morning? Do you not want to hang out with them and do other things in the afternoon and in the evening instead of making them be phone zombies all the time? I think it's pretty clear cut for me. What do you think, my lovely peaches? Shall we see what the forum has to say? You are the asshole! Your wife is essentially trying to enact boundaries and maintain a routine for 3 kids whilst you're not backing her up. You are the asshole! What exactly is your definition of an engaged parent? Because what I'm seeing here is that you think it's unreasonable to cook elementary and middle school aged children a decent breakfast and spend time with them so that they don't rot their brain with phones and iPads. To be fair, that's one thing that I also think is like a bit much. Like, cereal is okay. Kids can have cereal for breakfast. Cereal and a banana, cereal and milk, healthy cereal, not like sugar-loaded cereal. I think that's fine. Again, a very clear-cut one. I think we're doing pretty okay. I think we're quite solid on this Am I the A-hole so far today. Should we go fishing again? Shall we see what we have in store? Am I the asshole for refusing to change into a one-piece swimsuit so that my friend could feel better about her postpartum body? Interesting. My husband is a 32-year-old man. I'm a 29-year-old woman, and we were vacationing in Europe for 2 weeks, says OP. Coincidentally, one of my old college friends, Lizzie, 30-year-old woman, and her husband, 30-year-old man, were also vacationing in Italy at the same time that we were. They have a baby daughter that just recently turned 1. After we found out that both of our families are going to be in the same area for a few days, okay, hang on, are you a parent? I don't think so. It sounds like just Lizzie and husband has 1 kid, and OP and husband are kidless. I suggested that we meet up and spend a day together. They happily agreed. My husband and I had chartered a small yacht to take us around Italy for 3 days, and we invited them to come with us for 2 of the 3 days that we had the boat. They happily agreed. Oh, so it's going to be 1 day, and now you're going to see them for 2 days. Okay, cool, fine. The first day went perfectly. We all had an amazing time eating, drinking, swimming, chatting, not at the same time, I hope. I just had this like flash from the series of unfortunate events where they eat a banana and then all of a sudden they're stuck in the middle of the... It's fine. It's a lovely holiday in Italy. We're good. We're fine. We all hadn't seen each other in over a year, so there was a lot to talk about. On the first day, I wore a bikini, definitely on the skimpier side, and Lizzie wore a one-piece. Here are the problems. My face was not at the fact that one wore a skimpier bikini or a one-piece. You wear what you want to wear, babe. You wear a banana skin if you really want to. That would really attract leeches. The only reason I was pulling the face is because I can see the drama that's about to occur based on the title, and that's making me feel... On the second day is when the confrontation occurred. We just finished all having breakfast together and Lizzie asked for us to speak privately, so we went to a nearby area. She first started by telling me that after she gave birth to her daughter, she'd been feeling horrible about her body and how she just felt incredibly ugly in her skin because of the weight gain and the stretch marks. No, Lizzie, you don't need to feel that way. Your body literally made another body. Your body made life. Of course that's going to do things to your body, and it makes me so angry that this gorgeous new mum who's dealing with being a parent, who's dealing with an entirely like massive life adjustment, new stages of relationship, new stages of household, boobs are doing something totally different. But what is it that's top of mind? What is it that's making Lizzie feel frustrated right now? The fact that society thinks it's okay to say that we're not allowed stretch marks. Then she confessed that seeing me flaunting my body and being so thin made her feel really upset and uncomfortable as well as envious. Oh, okay, I'm trying to think, is it wrong for Lizzie to feel this way? No. Everyone's allowed to feel their feelings. Lizzie is entirely justified to feel the way she feels. I also think it's reasonable for her to feel the way that she feels. Envy is one thing. And then I was thinking, oh, does she really need to feel uncomfortable and upset? But I can understand why that would cause discomfort based on what Lizzie is saying. Let's read on. Lizzie also mentioned that she knew her husband had been looking at me and that made her even more upset. Oh, that took a turn. I felt for her and I made sure to reassure her that she was absolutely beautiful. And how about the husband thing? Do we get into that later? She then asked if I could wear a one-piece for our second day on the water. Ooh, I was a little taken aback by this blunt request. Also, what if you don't have one? I appreciate that Lizzie feels the way that Lizzie feels, but I don't feel like it's okay to then ask other people to adjust how they are. It sounds like something that Lizzie needs to manage within her own mind instead of asking other people to adjust their behaviour to accommodate Lizzie's less than perfect thinking. I told Lizzie that I didn't bring any one-pieces with me on vacation. She then immediately rolled her eyes. Oh, she said snappily, well, can't you go buy one right now? Ooh, Lizzie! I felt really awkward at this point because she was getting clearly agitated at me and teary. I was very uncomfortable because I wanted to say no, but I couldn't figure out what to say. So I awkwardly said and stuttered for a minute, which upset Lizzie even further, and she yelled, are you effing serious? You're being so selfish, Lizzie. Once she cursed at me, I said, Lizzie, I'm sorry, but I'm not willing to do that. You can call me selfish all you want, but it's not my job to make you feel better about your insecurities. I mean, it's true. This set her off even more. She began having a full-on sobbing meltdown whilst yelling that I'd ruined her entire vacation. Lizzie's upset about something else, babe, and she has taken it out on you because you are there and a mirror is not. That is the sad reality of the situation. After a few more minutes of back and forth, I removed myself from the conversation, ran back to my husband and told him that we were leaving them. We didn't end up contacting them for the rest of the time in Italy. Hang on a second. You're on a boat. Please tell me that you didn't leave them stranded somewhere, right? Like you put them on a pier so they could continue with their holiday. As long as that happened, I understand your reaction, OP. I think it's very reasonable. We didn't end up contacting them for the rest of the time in Italy. It's been 3 days since the incident and now we are back in the States. In the past, Lizzie's been a toxic friend, so I think that plays a role as well, but I still feel weird about the whole thing. Am I the asshole? No, my love, you are certainly not the asshole. In this situation, you're allowed to wear whatever you want to wear, and the fact that Lizzie, victim of society judging, has resorted to judging other people and enforcing more unreasonable standards on you when she should really be using that energy on focusing on herself, that's a really sad thing. And I definitely think she crossed the line when she asked you to go buy one and started swearing at you. There was absolutely no need for that. And if you therefore felt uncomfortable for the rest of the holiday, it's your prerogative. It's your holiday too. I'm sorry that this happened. And if Lizzie has been a toxic friend in the past, as in not able to control her emotions and ends up sort of sabotaging her relationships with other people in order to make herself feel better, then I'm a little bit confused as to why you're friends. I get it though, to be fair. Like if you're in this place, it's very rare that two people coincidentally vacation at the same spot, and it's a really kind thing for you guys to have offered, you know? So I can see why maybe you'd have been like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. How sweet, let's meet up, could have happened. But maybe now you know that Lizzie isn't perhaps the most fantastic company for you, and we should just get rid of those people who still have that unlearning, learning and growing to do when it affects us in a way that it doesn't need to affect us. That's my verdict. Been very strong on this Am I the Asshole episode, I think. Not the asshole, her request was unreasonable. I agree. Oh, interesting. The husband looking at the sexual way thing. Opie actually responded, someone asking and said, I actually highly doubt that her husband was even looking at me in a sexual way. She's always been one of those girls that irrationally assumes that her man is doing something that he isn't because of her own insecurities. Look, we have to take Opie's word as face value here, right? Because that is what we're reading. And if this is the case, it fits the narrative, and it just sounds like Lizzie has some real self-esteem issues that she needs to work through. But you know, forcing other people to cover up is not the way to go about it. Oh, nope. For her to feel insecure, perfectly natural. For her to even share it with you, I guess, but for her to ask you to wear a different suit, sort of weird, not the end of the world, and then to take it to the extremes that she did, you are not the asshole. I couldn't have said this better myself, except to share it with you. I'm not going to say I guess, I'm also going to say perfectly natural, because it should be perfectly natural. If we're feeling some kind of way, I think it's really healthy to just be like, you know what, I just wanted to let you know that I'm feeling some sort of envy and upset because I don't look as stunning as I see you look. I can understand why if you phrase it in the wrong way, it can make someone else feel uncomfortable, but I think by voicing these opinions, we're one, complimenting other people, and two, stopping a build-up of resentment over something that some other people can't control. So if you are acting some kind of way, because some people are not very good at hiding their emotions, you can bet that the other person is going to be feeling it, and it can cause problems if they don't know that the reason that you're acting some kind of way is actually because you find them remarkably pretty and you're struggling with something yourself. It can help for you to get support and also just build that level of trust between your relationships even more. We've seen that in cases beforehand where people have been like, look, I'm sorry, I've got feelings for somebody that you're dating. I'd much rather you tell me now. If it's something that's not going away, we can have a chat, we can figure out the boundaries until you can figure out your situation yourself, because then we all just are kept in the loop, you know? It's healthy. Relationships aren't ruined. Things aren't happening that are supposed to be with one intention but are actually being done with another intention because we're trying to hide that intention. Yay for being open, and yay to the rest of this comment. I mean, we did 3 for 3 there. I feel like we should do another one because we're working on making these Am I the Assholes a little bit longer, as per your request, Gorgeous Peach. The other 3 have been pretty clear cut to me, so let's see if this one is too. Am I the asshole for telling my in-laws that I won't exclude my child from traditions just because my stepkid doesn't want to take part? Oh, this sounds less clear cut. Gosh darn. Okay, I'm a 42-year-old woman and a stepmom of 2 kids, Emma, 16, and Luke, 15. I'm also mum to my son, Dex, who is 6. I've been in a relationship with my husband for 11 years and we've been married for 9 years. So you are furniture right now, baby. My stepkids are in our house every other week and with their mum every other week. I see. Whereas Dex is with you the whole time, is what I'm guessing. The relationship with my stepkids is okay. Not perfect, but not totally awful. They've always kept some walls up between me and them and my family and them. Polite, and they'll talk friendly enough, but they don't want to be a part of family things with us either. I can understand that. I think this is like very sensitively put by the stepmom. It's really cute that OP is here posting about this. It just reminds me of what this forum is useful for. The fact that OP is like setting out these boundaries and being like, so I have this predicament and I want to learn more. I'm just finding it all very wholesome. But wait, hang on, I didn't finish my point. I also think this is not super unhealthy or unkind of the kids, because if they're still living with mum's side for half of the time, I can see why that might still be very difficult for them and they don't want to fully immerse themselves in someone's new family. This idea of betraying mum when there's a new mum figure around is very real, especially for the ages of 16 and 15, and you don't know what kind of influence is happening from mum on the other side. Or even if it's not coming from mum, an internal influence that the kids might be feeling themselves to be like, oh, I don't want to betray mum, because they might feel like it's some kind of cheating, you know? So yeah, if things are polite and friendly and talkative, but they just don't want to fully insert themselves in family traditions for a family that they don't quite feel like they fit in the portrait of, Makes total sense to me. Fine, you do what you need to do. My mum has this cookbook, says OP, that's been used by 4 generations of the family now. My grandma started it with her and her kids, then my mum got it and shared it with me and my siblings, and now she shares it with her grandkids. Emma and Luke were offered to take part multiple times. They've always said that they weren't interested. My mum was a little upset, but understood that they might not be totally okay with the idea, and she's left it open for them to change their minds. Again, healthy to feel some kind of upset, perfectly normal, healthy to be like, okay, cool. Not force them to do it, but to also let them change their mind in the future. This all sounds wonderful. Why are we needing a post? Last year, Dex took part in the tradition for the first time with Mum and I. My stepkids didn't want to join us, so we didn't force it. Dex regularly now cooks recipes from it with my mum, and sometimes me too, and he loves it. He wants to add another recipe when he's older, which is something that we've all done. This is so cute. I know this isn't the point of this post, but I would like to adopt this tradition, please. It sounds adorable. The topic came up while my in-laws were around, and Dex was telling them all about it. He mentioned how much he loved taking part and how he loves cooking and baking. My in-laws asked if Emma and Luke had ever been part of it, and we said no, they hadn't wanted to be. They asked why not, and we said that they didn't seem the most comfortable with fully integrating like that, but it's always open for them to change their mind. They said that we should have waited for them to include Dex, and how my family and I have shown that we don't care if they're involved or not. I told them that they might never change their minds. They said that I've made it so that they won't now. They know that my biological kid is more wanted by my family. I said that's unfair. They've been offered the chance many times, and Dex shouldn't have to miss out because his siblings say no. The in-law said that that's my role as a mum of 3 instead of a mum of 1. I told them that I wouldn't make my son miss out just because my stepkid said no. They said that's why I'm wrong, and why I'm proving to be a poor parent to the non-bio kids that I had. Maybe you need to stay in your lane, in-laws. My husband told them to leave and said that they were wrong, but they insisted it was me who was in the wrong here, so am I the asshole? No, OP, you are not the asshole. Oh my goodness, do not let these silly sausage in-laws come in and force parenting norms on these kids that don't want to take part, and in the process deprive another child, and then create some sort of weird resentment that highlights their differences instead of what you're doing, which is to allow them to do their own thing. I have a question. OP, if Emma and Luke, the 2 stepkids, were not stepkids and just bio kids, that phrase is so weird to me. You know what I mean? Like kids that were fully 100% yours and your husband's, they lived with you full time, but they just weren't interested in the tradition. Would you be forcing it on them? Because if the answer is no, which you shouldn't, then I don't see the problem with what you're doing. And there's a really big problem with what the in-laws are asking you to do, and it's not their kids, and they just need to stump and blip blip, because why? Why are you getting involved? Why are you giving this bad advice when this gorgeous family is doing really well and making cute cakes? Just leave me, not the asshole. Unlike your in-laws, you actually asked your stepkids what they wanted and then respected their autonomy. And you've let your stepkids know that they're welcome to participate whenever they'd like to and are comfortable doing so. Moreover, the father agrees with your approach. The grandparents sound incredibly self-absorbed. The grandparents to me sound like they just think they know what's best. And you know what? I totally appreciate where the grandparents are coming from. It hurts, not for them, but for the stepkids to be like, oh, they're missing out on something and I really want them to be involved in that. OP, you wanted them to be involved too. OP, your mum really wanted them to be involved too. But the reality is they don't want it. And just because you want something doesn't mean that you can force someone else who doesn't want that something to do that thing, to appease you. That's just wrong. That's also something that took me a long time to learn. Not everybody wants the same thing that you want, and sometimes we just need to be okay with that. You're being a good parent, OP. Don't listen to the grandparents on this occasion. I have 2 biological sons. One loves doing all the family traditional stuff at Christmas. The other son balks. Am I saying that right? I've never seen that word before. Balks. To balk. To hesitate, to be unwilling. Everyday school day. Balks at the consumerism and would rather pass. I would never pressure either one to participate or not. The in-laws are being petty. Couldn't agree more. Very clear cut. 4 for 4. We did well today, Peaches. Did you agree with me on any of these takes? Are any of them hot takes? You'll let me know by getting your little fuzzy butts downstairs into the comment section. Let's have a chat together. I just ask that you be kind. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to. It would super duper duper help me out. We're really trying to grow this channel here. We're trying to create a little community, and I'd be very grateful if you could be part of that. If you want to, no pressure. All right, Peaches, that is it for now. I'll see you next time with another video. Be kind and have a great day. Bye.